At the 5 o'clock hour, we'll be talking about reviews, taking a look at the Arisco Foods review that got a Nigerian in trouble, Choma, and how the people have responded to it and what it means generally to actually put out a review. We'll get your opinion on that as we take eyewitness reports, situation update, and all whatnot. But by any chance, did you hear the story? I bet a lot of people did. A lot of people did about the iron lung polio Paul Alexander man. I remember it was many years back when I saw a special documentary that was done about this man who lived in sort of like a cylindrical iron kind of encasement, and he had to, like, his life depends on it. It's like an iron lung is what they call it, because he had polio when he was a kid, and from about age 6, 7, thereabout, he's had to live in this iron lung encasement in his home so that to help him breathe, because apparently it was a severe case that affected his lung and his ability to breathe on his own. And he's lived that way for 78 years until he eventually died. I mean, he was dependent on the iron lung for about 71 years of his life or thereabout. And he's known to be the last person who's used this sort of procedure, actually, to keep himself going based on the nature of the illness that he suffered from his childhood. But he eventually died, and the world can't stop talking about it, the legacy that he left behind. Alexander was said to be one that, you know, some people, I remember seeing that documentary, and I was saying to myself, who would want to live like this? But he did live like that for 78 years. And he fought through all the lemons that life threw at him. You know, when they say make lemonade out of it, he managed to make something out of it. He acquired a degree, law. He's a lawyer, or was a lawyer before he died. Author, wrote several books, and it was said that he wrote the book himself using his mouth and his pen. Was just writing, scribbling. I even saw a bit of it where they would show him writing, you know, his face looking all puffed up. You would know that he's been saturated with drugs. And I mean, seriously, you can't even be the same if you're heavily dependent on something external to help you breathe, yeah? And then it can only come out of that iron lung for just a few minutes per day, you know, clean up, do basic stuff, stretch him out, and so that, you know, but to lie on one's back for that amount of time, you start to wonder, what just gives him the strength to just want to go on and not just exist, but actually live in spite of, you know, the odds against him. He wrote a book, he got a degree, he made impact. We're talking about him in Nigeria. I mean, there are places in China, perhaps they're talking about him in India. His name went round in spite of it all. I mean, it's a strong inspiration, the willpower and strength that certain people have. And I've since realized, honest to God, that we're not on the same level, on the same wavelength when it comes to mental strength and inner drive. Some people need people to continue to give them the pep talk, to continue to charge them and motivate them. Others, they can generate this motivational strength on their own, inspiration on their own. And you know why some things will happen and they will cave, they will break down, they would even want out of life. Others, it will just be like a springboard to actually want to do more, to prove that they're capable of more, to prove that they're capable of surmounting their challenges. And that's why you don't use one brush stroke with so many people, because you never can tell people's mental strength. I mean, when you're looking at people with absolute, amazing, incredible mental strength to go through life, I would say Paul Alexander is one of those people. To have lived that long, dependent on that iron lungs, and went ahead to say, I still want to get an education. I still want to write a book. I still want to tell my story. And then cameras in front of him, and he's telling you his story, telling you how he eats, how he takes his rest, how he does things is amazing. May his soul rest in peace. I beg your pardon. May his soul rest in peace, Paul Alexander. Spent majority of 70 years in the iron lung, and in spite of the odds, he eventually died on Monday afternoon at the age of 78, according to a statement put out by his family. And they've since put out a GoFundMe page set up to help pay for his housing and healthcare. Well, it was done a long time back, actually. That's how they just kept him going. Others were like, no, you should channel the money. You're saying the man, they should just take life out of him. He wants to leave. Give him the chance and the opportunity to. And he lived 78 years. I mean, if you're looking at life expectancy in Nigeria, it's a miracle if one gets to 78. All right, people, welcome to the Roundtable. Let's look at some of the critical stories driving conversation in Nigeria, talking about life expectancy. I mean, with some of the things that happen in the country, honest to God, it's a miracle if one gets to 78. Because the way at which lives are being snuffed out and dealt with in Nigeria, well, not just Nigeria, around the world, but hey, with the kidnapping, with the banditry, with the level of criminality that we're seeing, the attacks and the killings, it's so fragile that you would appreciate what I'm talking about. Well, let's bring you an update. You know, the children who were kidnapped, primary school children or secondary school children or in Kaduna State, and part of them were removed in Sokoto State, and several kidnapping that we've seen like an upsurge of it in recent time. We did talk about it when we had our guest, Dr. Lomefo, in the studio. We're talking about even what the kidnappers were demanding for. I think they're adjusting also, perhaps maybe factoring inflation into what they're demanding, because now they've dropped it down to 1 billion naira. Still sound preposterous, far away from the 40 billion. Perhaps maybe they're just looking at, head count and the number of people they have and saying this is what they want as their ransom for these children, or else. They're saying kidnappers made contact on Tuesday through the principal of the school, Abubakar Issa, who was abducted alongside his student on Thursday. I'm trying to get the detail of that one out. And they are making demands of asking for 1 billion naira ransom for the release of the children, all of them. The kidnappers made contact on Tuesday through the principal of the school, who was abducted. Okay, the terrorists contacted one Aminu Kuriga, a friend of the school principal, around 2 p.m. on Tuesday, asking for the sum of money. Well, I'm not going to bore you with the detail of what it is the kidnappers want, but let's tell you what the government has decided is going to happen. And the president has vowed not to pay ransom to kidnappers of any sort, most especially to those who are putting outrageous figures, saying this is the amount they want from them. I mean, it just sounds like that's the strategy. Get a large number of people, stir up emotion in the country. If you take children, people will be worried. The entire nation will be worked up. How dare you? Primary school children, some as young as 8, you'll be worried. Everybody will be like, oh, let's do everything within our capacity to see that we have these children rescued and whatnot. But the president is saying ransom will not be paid. And the information minister, Mohammed Idris, stated this in Abuja while addressing journalists. He said this yesterday, that the president also directed security agencies to ensure the release of all kidnapped victims without the payment of ransom. That the president has directed that no ransom will be paid to any of these criminal elements. And I think it's important that this is put out there, the minister said. And the comment followed the mass kidnapping that occurred in different parts of the country. In Kaduna, 280 students were kidnapped last week by yet-to-be-identified bandit. And the Kaduna kidnapping occurred a few days after about 400 people were kidnapped by Boko Haram insurgents in Borno State. And we know about 12 of them were kidnapped from a school also, or an Islamic school in Sokoto State. So the ones in Kaduna are the ones who are making the demands at this point and asking, for $1 billion for the children, 1 billion naira. Now, I know, we're talking about humans. We're talking about children. Their lives are worth even 40 trillion naira. But the thing is, it's becoming an industry that is being financed by every single payment. It's keeping the industry going. And they're beginning to have value chain. They're having the people who negotiate, the people who do the drop-off, the people who do the actual kidnapping, the people who collect the ransom money, the people who make the phone call. This is a network of people, even the people who volunteer to negotiate on behalf of whoever. It's a part of the value chain. Doesn't matter if you're working directly with them or not, but you've become a part of the industry because you're readily available to talk with these people, and perhaps you have what it takes for them to pay attention to negotiate the price down a bit to make it a bit more favorable. Because negotiating with bandit does not mean, oh, I'm going to talk with them and then they'll release the children. No, it means we're going to find a middle ground. What are you ready to offer? Let's see if they will accept that and release the children. But the government is saying that's not going to happen. And I think we've done enough of that strategy for too long, enough to re-strategize to saying the industry cannot be funded. But then it sounds almost like heartless for you to say something like this, because we're dealing with children and people who we know these brutes are capable of harming them and killing them. They've even threatened that it's going to happen if ransom is not paid. How many times have we had this conversation, guys, with threats coming, we're going to kill them if money is not paid, and then before you know it, some arrangement is made, 100 million, 200 million, depends on how much premium is placed on your life, and then people are released. But how long do we want to go on with this? It's a tough call, the rock and a hard place. Tough decisions have to be made. And the government is saying no government is going to tell you they're going to negotiate even if they intend to negotiate. No government is going to tell you they're going to pay ransom even if they intend to pay the ransom. So that's on the surface. But if we're saying this isn't going to happen, what's going to be the fate of the children? The government is saying we would rescue them. Are they going to get every one of them, or are we going to have a Leah Sharibu situation at the end of the day where one woman, one child, or two will be left behind based on whatever condition is given by these kidnappers? Well, that's something to look at. That's something to talk about. And what are the possibilities? For example, in Kaduna State, where they took 280 of the students, that we're going to get all 280 of them back. What's the guarantee also that 3 months down the road, we're not going to have 320 more abducted, and then we start all over again with pocket of unidentified people making outrageous demand on the nation in a critical time where we're complaining about the very tight economic state we're in. People can hardly afford food, pay their bills, and get certain essential needs in their homes. And people are asking for 1 billion, 40 trillion, 100 million from average people. But this time, actually, it feels like they're directing it to the government. And it makes it even a bit more suspect to saying this was the grand plan, from the drawing board to saying this is what we're going to do. We're going to get as many people as possible. We know the parents are too poor and too broke to raise what we want. So the target is going to be state actors, government, to come in here and meet us halfway or whatever. It's a difficult situation to find any nation in at this point in time. So what happens next? What are we going to do about these children if we're not going to pay ransom? Do we truly... it comes from a place of what have we done in the past with the Chibok, with Dapchi, with the girls who were taken from Katsina, from the people who've been removed from Zamfara, and all the kidnapping that has gone on. Better Baptist, have we seen effective military strategy or police strategy to actually collect all of these children back and rescue them? Enough to build confidence that it's going to happen. But at this point, that's all we have. The hope that it's going to be done right this time around, yeah? We can only hope for the best. Well, that's one story to look at. The government is saying we are not going to pay ransom. We cannot continue to fund that industry. And it sounds like the best call to make. But then what happens to the children? Can we rescue them? All 280 of them? Or all 400 women who were kidnapped by Boko Haram? Or the countless of other people who've been kidnapped and perhaps are still within the walls of Nigeria, but we just can't find them. It's insane, yeah? But that's the reality. All right, I would want your 2 cents on this as you call into the roundtable. It's just me and you, no guest today. I would have our guest resume by Monday. So feel free to call me up on 0700 951 0000, or you can call me up on 0809 5974 869. Our WhatsApp number is also there for you to call, 0809 9930 137. I'll take a few calls and then we get to the next story. Hello.
Hello, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Abakar calling you from Rongo.
You're welcome.
It's very unfortunate. It's pathetic the way we handle issues, most especially issues of emergency. The global practice in most of the developed climes, I can believe, if kidnapping took place, if people were adopted, the intelligence will run or form synergy. They'll be able to locate the venue or the location of the kidnappers and the people they kidnap people. They will train them. They will form a cycle. So they will start engaging the kidnappers. They will prevent them from making any movement from that particular point. It is then you take your terms. But in this case, we don't know the fate of the children who are kidnapped, the school children. We don't know their location. We are just making threats in vacuum, in isolation. Empty threat. It's empty threat. It happened with the Chechen rebels when they kidnapped school children in Russia. The Russian intelligence immediately located their position, engaged them in discourse, in conversation, and they are monitoring and surveying the rebel strength, those kidnappers. It is how they continue buying time until they launch onslaught on those rebels. They rescue the children, some of the children alive, some of the children lost their life. In the end, the rebels suffer a serious calamity.
Loss
their life. That is how it is done. There's no any operation on the ground that was going on. Nothing. You are just making rhetoric, like just the way they continue making rhetoric concerning economic matter, concerning politics, rhetoric. No action, Kimberly. What kind of a country? Kimberly, I'm asking you, are we a country? Is Nigeria a country? Is that how we continue managing this country? We have millions of able-bodied youth. They are getting hungrier and hungrier.
All right.
Some of them, you say they should go to school. They went to school. You ask them to learn trade. They cannot practice their trade. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Sorry. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to the Roundtable. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Frank. I'm calling from Gariki.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, it's not just enough for government to say they are not paying ransom in the case of the kidnapped school children. But the question is, what is the government doing? If they are not paying ransom, are they now abandoning the children to their fate and that of their parents? Because I cannot see this government talking and looking serious for me. There is nothing the government seems to be doing that looks serious as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there is nothing one can hold on to say, yes, there's a government in place. Apart from the fact that, yes, there's a government by name. But in the recent, one cannot really say there's a government. Because, at least for me, how do you know that you have something? It is when what you have is serving you the purpose for which you have it. If I am the one carrying my car up and down, not my car carrying me from one point to the other, I cannot tell anybody I have a car. I will just be foolish telling people I have a car. So when I have a car, it's when my car is serving the purpose of taking me from point A to point B. So for me, this government have not shown me enough reason to say that their government is not for the purpose of saying. So if they say they won't pay ransom, fine. But then, what would they be doing? Because I've had situations like this in the past.
I mean, we had Chief Andrew Ngilali, who was, he said something about getting some support from the United States. I was trying to recall exactly what he said during that TV interview where he implied that the federal government was receiving support from the United States government for the release of the school students, their teachers, and the IDPs also. But didn't quite delve into the extent of what this support is really and how fast we'll get to see them released. But I quite agree with you as to the fact that we're not seeing any sense of urgency given the large number of people removed.
I don't know if you are one of those that believe in government and their thoughts. Because by the end of today, another person from the government will say something contrary. And that has been on and on. So what I'm saying is not just to sound off, do something in line. This is a government that went to give a sanction to Niger. The same government run back to give sanction without Niger asking for any assistance. So how can you take this government serious? So please, I have those out to the parents, and I want to beg them, don't listen to the government, find a way to see if we can lose their children. This may sound weird, but I know what I'm saying. We have a case of Shaibu. Is there? All we know is to count days and years that she has spent there. And life continues. Government, the so-called government is still running. President
All right.
is still traveling abroad and coming back. And that life continues. If they are not going to question and get up with them.
But would you agree at this point that we need to just hold off this ransom payment for a while? But the more ransom are paid, the more people will get into that. It looks like a vibrant business.
Nobody in his right senses will support payment of ransom because we know that means. What that means? It's like engineering them for their nefarious activity.
Yeah.
But then, a situation where government cannot help us. What do? Payment of ransom is the last ugly resort. But then, what do? If you have a government that is in power and is acting as a government in power, then we cannot say we are not paying ransom. I mean, but for me, it is something painful that government our people should.
All right, sir.
We know what that means. We heighten this thing. But when the government is not helping, what will you do?
All right.
We are just caught in between.
All right.
Even
Yeah.
I have a serious minded government that is standing by their word, then I can say, okay, let's not pay ransom. But this same government we are talking about is already negotiating it. Okay, now, if you are not going to pay ransom, how about talking to those who are telling you, this man they call Gumi, why is it that? What's the doing?
All right, sir. Okay.
How come that this government somebody cannot bring this man down and ask him questions?
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your take. Let's hear another. Hello.
Good afternoon, Kim.
Welcome to the show. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Paul from Lokogoma.
Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. This issue of kidnapping and insecurity in the country. Now we have entrepreneurs, crisis entrepreneurs. People have invested in it, the insecurity in the country. We have merchants. We have cartels. And these people don't want this to finish because they are benefiting from it. I was saying, look, we have reached a point where we will look outside this country. Our service chiefs should come outside the country. The president should resign. You see, one annoying aspect of it is this, Kim. Do you know that this issue of insecurity has become a campaign point or agenda for our politicians? Another set of the 2027, 3031 is coming. Is by the corner. That is will be the topical point for them to campaign to the people. And lo and behold, if the president enters, nothing will happen. Tinubu campaigned talked about this during his campaign. And nothing happened. Nothing is happening. Over it's getting to a year now, he assumed duty as president of this country. And nothing is happening, and he's less concerned about it. So we know what is happening. It will continue. Other things are coming on, and we are living in abject poverty.
You know when you say nothing is happening. Sorry to interject, Paul. We said the same thing about Jonathan. We said the same thing about Buhari.
Thank you.
We're saying the same thing about Tinubu. How is it that we keep recruiting people who give the impression that nothing is happening?
That is why I'm saying that we have to look outside the country. Let our chief of defense staff be from America. Let our chief of army staff come from Germany. Let the chief of defense staff come from Russia. Let chief of...
I beg your pardon, Paul. A sovereign nation, you're handing key critical aspect of the country, a sovereign nation to other nations. You're saying the chief should come from...
Are we a sovereign state? Abubakar asked you that question. You did not answer. Are we a sovereign state? Let's stop deceiving ourselves. That is why it's happening, King. Tomorrow it will be me and you. Tomorrow you will hear that Paul from Lokogoma is no longer calling. Tomorrow you will hear that Kim did not come to work. That is because these people are taking charge. Sheikh Gumi said it yesterday. Government should negotiate. There is a spokesman, and he has been operating freely. Nothing is happening to him. Very soon, maybe they will have their own executive cabinet. So these are the issues. Who is Gumi? Can you tell me who is Gumi? King, you yourself.
All right.
Can you tell me who is Gumi?
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you.
If Gumi tells me I should stop here, I will stop. If the chief of army staff said go, I will go. I will stop. I won't go.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Because I know
Your point is clear. You've made your stance clear. And just so you know, I was rebuking it when you said that in my mind. I didn't say it very out loud, but I guess everybody thinks it won't be them until it happens. Yeah, I get it. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
I'm Dr. Chidi on the line, please.
Welcome, Dr. Chidi.
Okay. Kimberly, I was just saying before you answered the point from the cover that it cannot be a portion because you say a good prayer. I will not be happy hearing that Kimberly Mwachko, my sister, has been kidnapped because of Boko Haram or any other body.
I rebuked it in my spirit also. My spirit man rejected it.
It's a good one. So my contribution
but we're all vulnerable, yeah. Go ahead.
God will help us to have good people that will help the country to get it right. But if the current people we have on ground cannot be able to take us where we ought to be. So I pray maybe God will help us the next election if things will work out well. If we can be able to have credible election, and that will lead to having credible leaders that can be able to pilot the affairs of the country to where it ought to be. That's my contribution. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's run through some comments quickly so that we don't keep piling so many of them. I mentioned that we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on WhatsApp also. On Facebook, Chukwuemeka Valentino talking about how relaxed I looked in the studio. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm trying to make myself even more comfortable. Noel Joel, I see you. Eko Johnson, I do hope Mr. President would hasten security agencies to, as a matter of urgency, wake up and do something fast to ensure that these people are being released from the hands of their abductors, you mean to say, and not just speaking from the comfort of his home, because these are people's children. Johnson from Central Area. Kenneth Gift, we see your comment also. I'll get back to the rest in a bit. And Engineer Ola, I see you on YouTube also. Let's look at the few that we have on WhatsApp has been having a mind of his own. Did you guys notice that some of the telco providers were just erratic today? Difficult to get on socials and sending messages. So, yeah. Kim, your WhatsApp call is not connecting. Please check connection, Michael. You know, we've been dealing with some network issues, so it just might be connected to that. Masses are not the ones recruiting president. Primaries, elections recruit them, and masses have no choice but to vote candidate elected by the party's electorate. Shagun from Galadima. Well, there's a marital of truth there, and that's why it's important that we interrogate party structure, party system, party ideology, and party financing, and a lot of things, because really, they are the ones who give you the limited choice you have at the end of the day. So if the party would present a candidate, by law, you have to choose between all the candidates presented by the political parties, because you can't pick and choose and say, oh, no. Oh, you have this party, APC, this candidate in your party. You didn't pick them for primaries, but that's our preferred choice. You can't do that. I mean, if we could, it would be amazing, but we can't. The law does not permit for that to happen. So, Shagun, to a certain extent, there's some facts there. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Yes, the government's stand for not paying ransom is a good one because it's become a lucrative business. But the approach of coming on air to saying it is wrong, they're indirectly putting the lives of these little children in danger. Let their plans and strategy be secret, and they should be sincere in their approach. Pere, the lecturer from Sapele. Oh, well, I feel like Nigerians need to know to a certain extent where you stand. If you do not, it gives the impression that you're paying ransom every corner. So if they rescued, we'll assume they paid ransom because they didn't come out to say they were not going to pay. So it's a difficult one. I don't think any move the government makes right now will be applauded. It will just seem wrong on so many fronts at this point. Kim, Peter Obi and PDP backing Senator Ningi, and also budget coming out to prove the Guinness Book of Record will be broken when, I'm not touching on that at the moment. If, as a nation, we cannot effectively police and secure our forests and our border areas, then it means we can't defend ourselves even from external invasions. Mike in Kagini sent that one. Chemo, please just cannot stop V from Cuba. I need deliverance. Hey, no, man, good to know that you're back. Welcome back. Alexander Paul is an inspiration for all. Life expectancy in Nigeria is 45, whereas in Cuba, life expectancy is 70. How can you juxtapose the two disparity in figure? A healthcare service needs some level of improvement if we're to live longer. Obinna from Life Camp. Insecurity, I've said and keep on saying, insecurity is the business of our politician. It's the way they take our money, Gideon C. from Gwagwalada. All right. And I am in agreement with the president. These criminals should not be dictating to us, but government too really need to let these elements know that we're not in a banana republic by getting rid of them. How can they be killing people as if they made these people? Oludade Abiodun sent that one in. Geronimo from Duse Alaji says appeasement doesn't solve deliberate hostility. If there's anything to learn, then let's learn from the British Prime Minister Chamberlain. His negotiation skill with Hitler led to a full-blown war. It's better we just go gloves off with the enemies of our country than just waste time exchanging words with their sympathizers, he wrote. All right, then. Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
My name is Don.
Your name is Didon? Go ahead, sir.
For parents to say that the negotiator mentioned for body is a good one. But how sincere it is. For example, if you want to go after this criminal, you're supposed to come on air and say announce it. You have the security officers on the ground. They know what to do. In the first place, how did this Kaduna or happen? How can a 100 birds in a society coming to the same direction without detection? When there's Air Force in Kaduna, they are telling army everybody they are in Kaduna. Immediately when these people are taking the children inside the thing, they can't carry their paper to look around and see where these people are going. Those innocent children are there since last week. Since last week, almost a week plus now, they are inside in the hand of these young people. I feel sorry for this country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's move on to another story. Yes, you can still comment on this one, but let's build on the stories we have for the roundtable today. The federal government has filed a criminal charge against Bello Bodejo, leader of the Mayati Allah Kauta Hori group, over an alleged unlawful establishment of an ethnic militia group. The charge was filed before the Federal High Court in Abuja 2 days back, on the 12th of March. And Bodejo was arrested on the 23rd of January at the Mayati Allah office in Karo local government area of Nasarawa State over the unveiling of a vigilante group. The Fulani Social Cultural Organization had recently unveiled a vigilante group in the state, Nasarawa State that is. But they just said the Nomad Vigilante Group would assist security agencies in combating crime in the north central state. Now, the federal government had secured an order to remand Bodejo for 15 days in the custody of the National Intelligence Agency. And after the expiration of the order, Iyangepo, presiding judge, extended the detention period by another 7 days. The judge also ordered the federal government to ensure that it filed a charge against the accused and directed that the detainee be brought to court on the next adjourned date. On Wednesday, the state failed to produce Bodejo in court. However, Yetunde Imana, lawyer for the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, told the court that a charge has been filed against Bodejo. Bodejo noted that it was yet to receive the case file. Now, Mohammed Sherry, Bodejo's lawyer, informed the court of a pending bail application he filed for his client. Sharif proceeded to move the application and prayed the court to grant bail to his client. Now, responding, Imana prayed the court to dismiss the bail application on the ground that it's a matter that touches on national security. ECO adjourned ruling of the application to the 22nd of March. On Wednesday, members of the Mayati Allah staged a protest outside the Federal High Court in Abuja demanding for Bodejo's release. And I know that some people sent in pictures and shared with us what was going on. I was in front of the court demanding that he should be released. Now, this is also something that some people are talking about as to what it takes up to set up a vigilante in the country. And I think for Mayati Allah Kautauri, that aspect of Mayati Allah is the fact that they are already been charged up in so many ways, in so many issues. When it comes to security issue, politicized to the extent that it feels like they have a particular leaning. I mean, there's no way you're talking about, particularly in the central part of Nigeria, where we're talking about herders-farmer conflict, attacks, and all whatnot, that Mayati Allah doesn't come in or not mentioned. or people in their group, or, taking a statement from one of their leadership saying, we did this because this happened, or we're going to do this because this happened in the past. So you can understand why theirs will raise so many flags as to, all right, I know people should have organized group. I mean, they're vigilantes in certain neighborhood where you say, okay, we'll organize ourselves, get some bit of security, comb the area because it's not well defined in terms of an estate, and you have your pocket of vigilante. There are state set up vigilantes also, and you get to see it in the northwest, you get to see it in the northeastern part of the country, even in the southeastern part of the country, where they will have groups that are kind of like constituted by state, maybe not backed by legislation, but they're saying you're not going to be armed. However, your job is to just give us feedback, information, the terrain and all whatnot. And in recent time, people have been calling for state police. I remember our guest on Monday was calling for where you have community policing, state policing, even down to the ward level where you have pocket of vigilante groups organized there as much as we want state police, and then you still maintain the different strata to our security composition at this point in time. People have been calling for organized one. I know in Borno State, the Haito Boko Haram, they had vigilantes. Women were even part of the vigilantes, but they were really constituted and made up by state body. So the question is on authorization as to what's your vigilante about, really. Is it to protect your herds? Is it to protect your community? Because if you say you're setting up a vigilante for the state, on whose authority, on what authority are you setting it up? Particularly in a place where you're already perceived in, and perception it's something we don't take serious, but perception is a strong one. People can go on that perception for a very long time, particularly if nothing deliberate is done to change it to believing the worst of the person based on what is perceived. And Mayate Allah does have that perception, particularly Kautahore, which is seen as the political end of it or the militia end of it. They're all perception. They haven't come to put that label on themselves. It's more of a social cultural, they say, group there. But the perception is when there is trouble, particularly in the north central part of Nigeria, there's Mayati Allah right in the middle. Might be an innocent victim, but it's there, right in the middle. So on what authority are they setting up a vigilante, and what's the scope and extent of their vigilante or vigilantism, if you put it that way? I think it's something for the court to establish. But the state and the federal government sees it as a problem, and they are made an arrest. They have taken the case to court, and it's left for us to see what interpretation. And then going beyond even Mayate Alice, you start to interrogate who is setting up what. Because we need to be very careful with how non-state actors begin to, kind of like accrue power and authority upon themselves. And if they have a following, they start to become a state upon themselves. They become a legislation upon themselves. They just defy certain constitutional provision and just do them. And we've seen quite a number of them in different regions of the country who give directive and people comply. They'll tell you, no work on this day, and Mondays is a shutdown in good part of the eastern state. They will tell you, okay, these people are not meant to be here, and people comply. And then you come here and say, okay, we're going to set up a vigilante, not backed by any law provision. However, there'll be some level of compliance if it's not nipped in the bud. So it's left for us to see how this pans out and what dimension it will take. Because with Nigeria, things always take an interesting turn. But let's get your 2 cents on this. If you think the government was being a little too extreme with the arrest and the charge, or you think it's better we nip it in the bud before he escalates. So 2 stories down, call me up on 0700 951 0000 or 0809 5974869. I see that the WhatsApp isn't coming up. So for those of you saying you can't reach us via WhatsApp, I understand. It's not up either. But you can send a message. Once it's back up, I'll let you know. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you, Kim. Obasanjo.
Welcome, Obasanjo.
Thank you. Some people are joking. Federal government just said, oh, Mr. President, has take Nigerians for granted just like that. He has not seen what the bandits have been doing. That is why all these issues of kidnapping school children, the young children, the young ones, I tell you, even the army himself here. Why? Because we see Koro what the army and the bandits. At times, I don't need to even overtalk the issue of insecurity in this country. Why? Because we watch how the whole thing, face to face, we watch how the whole thing was moving around. So you got to scare for this country that is that a country that we will make, or some people are just there to punish some people. Like the poor masses of this country, I am telling you, too, from the bottom of my heart, at times I see government talking about issue of insecurity. It's where you see with your Korokoro, how the army and the bandits, they were even, you see, as if it's a drama stuff. That the federal government will now issue, what they know themselves. I am telling you, this is the government has a hand on the issue of insecurity in this country. I am telling you, and I will bet.
All right. Well, you're just saying it because that's what you believe. That's what you perceive. But I'm sure you cannot substantiate it.
And Kim, it's what you see with Koro Eye. What the Anya and the bandits are doing. You will just laugh. The whole scenario, I am telling you, man, it's something that you see. You have not seen who they kidnap how many? The governor of Niger State call on what? To settle down with the bandits. Is that not? Face-to-face stuff. And see, I am giving you a live update, not a story update, a live one. So some things you just ignore. When bandits came to our community, is that why you come and see the drama? The drama. It's a big drama, I'm telling you. Not something. Yeah.
All right, Obasanjo.
It's a story.
All right, Obasanjo.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello, the Oracle.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, it's better. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Salasi.
Go ahead.
I greet the previous caller, Abubakar and Obasanjo from Amali. I want to talk about this insecurity of a thing. You see what has been going on. You can imagine what has been going on. Do you know that in Niger State, where this Obasanjo is calling, this federal government college here for Sabonwute has been shut down for how many months? For how many years? There is an Islamic school before that Diko. That one too has been shut down. It has been happened all just because of insecurity. So when we talk about insecurity, you know, me, I have one-to-one discussion with the victims of these people. I travel to Kaduna. I have one-to-one talk with them. The other person pay 5 million. The other person pay 2 million, and the other person pay 1.5 million. He say it's not that these people are in the bush. He say their wives go to the market. They have solar energy that they charge their phones, and they carry them as gold in their own territory. Paul from Lokogoma has been praying, has been saying we shouldn't. Our prayer is that either you or him shouldn't be kidnapped. We say it's not our portion. Then whose portion? So it's the portion of other people. So just like anyone can be victim. As I always say, today victims are yesterday survivor. Tomorrow victims are today survivor. Now bandits are demanding for 1 billion, and someone will be there in negotiating. Do you remember the train victims? They say government said they are not going to negotiate with them. But what happens? Gumi and Manu mediate, and money were paid. 100 million were paid for the victims. The experts that were there, 200 million were paid before they could release it. And we couldn't get the criminals arrested. See, we should accept the offers of America. If they offer to come and assist us, because if bandits can be able to go to the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna, NDA, they kidnap soldiers and kill others and go unabated, and none of them has been arrested. So we need the intervention of America. Jonathan wanted that during that time. The northern elders say, no, we don't want. Hey, Hederica wants to kill us. This and that. And we accept that. They couldn't accept that. They send the people that wanted to assist us. Now America offering help. People are in the hands of these criminals. You can imagine what is going in the mind of these young children. Many schools have been shut down in Kaduna. Bethel Baptist has been shut down completely. Other universities have been shut down in Kaduna. Even that community, the other schools surrounding that community were shut down. That's why they made the children together. That's why we get the number of these children.
All right.
Now by these criminals.
All right, Salasi.
If I say anything about government, they will arrest me. But they can't get the bandits and arrest them.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, King.
You're welcome to the round table.
Yeah, Maskman calling from Abuja.
We're listening, sir.
Yeah, on federal government taking a stand that they are not going to negotiate with bandits, I think it's a very nice one. Now, we should go into the mind of the bandits. Now that we've said we're not going to pay them, what are they going to do? Then what are the proactive steps that we will take to stop them from doing that? That is what we are looking forward to see our federal government doing, because we cannot negotiate with bandits. These people, in the first place, they are traumatizing us, making us fatherless, making us homeless. And the most dangerous one inside is that among these children who are being traumatized because they are not being punished, they are going scot-free, some of them will be dreaming, aspiring to become a bandit and Boko Haram. What kind of a country are we building if we go that path? If we should go that path. And then briefly on Militiala, I think it's a nice one. All over the country, you see headers clashing with farmers. You leave your own place to my backyard to come and fight with me, and you say you want to secure me and my farm. That cannot be possible now. When you are without a security securing me, you have the boldness and the braveness to leave your place to my backyard, and after destroying my crops, you fight me. Then when you now have a body, federal government should not allow that now. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. It's still the round table, and we started off talking about kidnappers demanding 1 billion, but the government talking tough, saying no negotiations with these people, no payment of ransom to the kidnappers. So what happens to the children? Andrew Ngelale did I mentioned something about some support coming from the United States. What's the nature of it? Well, perhaps you're not interested in all the fine details and of what it is entails, but the most important thing is it capable of bringing these children, these women, these people back and preventing it from happening, securing our country? Because it feels like we're living in a nightmare at this point in time with the frequency of reoccurrence that we have seen, sadly, for the past, what's going on, close to 15 years now. It's just been madness. I mean, don't forget that Boko Haram even predicted the abduction of the Chibok girls. That was just the height of it at that point in time. And we're still grappling with it till now. It's taken multiple dimensions at this point in time. We also talked about the arrest of Badijo, and it's been charged by the federal government for setting up a vigilante in which the government frowns out seriously, and how this will be handled is left for us to see. Someone left on our Facebook page saying, I hope the federal government will handle the issue of the Meate Allah Kautahuri quite seriously. We'll see about that. Hello? You're welcome.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. What's your name?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Emeka is my name.
Go ahead, Emeka.
Yeah, I'm calling from Doro.
Go ahead, sir.
Oh, can you hear me?
Go ahead, sir.
The issue of this insecurity, if I'm to say, government has hand in it. You understand? Because from the letter Abacha, we have made to know that any problem that persists 24 hours, government is about it. Then one was this persist for a long time, for years. What can government do something about it? This is when all of us is gone on kidnapping hands. Let us stop this madness and serious in this life, Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. You sound for good. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate the rejection and the rebuking also on my behalf. Thank you. It's serious, actually. But yeah, you not to rebuke them quickly. All right, then. Because I do not even want to, for 1 minute, think of the horror that people go in the hands of these abductors. It's just a nightmare. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I think of change. It started during the time of Jonathan. It happened during the time of Buhari. Now it comes up, it happened again for the president of and now you say that you cannot pay ransom. That will go to the region. We will go and Allah, this 50 groups which use our country, they are 36 or 37, including the Federal Capital Territory. They have grouped themselves everywhere in the country, ready to fight within the court. Now they haven't come all my days. It's not only group when what government rise against me. They have to laugh.
Okay. Contain your emotions, all right? You can make your contribution without getting carried away with some thoughts, all right? Thank you very much. I know that we're all concerned about the security situation. We're worried about it, but we're not going to make unfounded allegations by making broad statements like that road you were going down. I don't want to go there with you. Thank you very much for that. And Joy Choji says, this is it meant for SWAT? I've not seen on serious country like Nigeria. There are many businesses to do, but politicians choose the kid. Wow. It's okay. We move. All right, there's one more story that I'm going to throw in the mix, and you get some time to respond to that afterwards. And that's the concern around oil theft, which is another big wahala for us in Nigeria. And this time, Mele Kyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, says that the national oil firm is unable to deal with the scale of oil theft in Nigeria. This is throwing your hands in the air and saying, I give up, I surrender. We do not have the capacity to dealing with it. Now, he said this yesterday when the House of Representatives Special Committee on Oil Theft visited the NNPC headquarters in Abuja for an oversight function, warning that the country will be in trouble if the menace persists. In December 2023, Kyari told the Senate Committee on Appropriation that there was about 4,800 illegal connections on over 5,000 kilometers of oil pipelines across the country. Now, addressing lawmakers on Wednesday, Kyari said the level of illegal connection on oil pipeline in the country is unbelievable. I'll give you a bit more detail after the news. Stay with us.
A place where you can air your views.
I want to report the situation.
Only on your number one station for talk.
This is not the way. We cannot continue like this.
95.1 Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.